accommodations, help you out any way they can, but they won't write it for you.
And also, if you're a Quest student, that's upstairs, which I think we're going to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
That's in 224?
204.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
To get it off.
Yeah.
To get somebody.
IEP and all that fun stuff.
Where's she going? I'd like to see. She's gonna check. She wasn't sure.
This is where you'll get your help with any
Your accommodations
you have. This is where you'll bring your paperwork for an IEP, where they'll help you with that.
Also, if you have, like if you need somebody to take notes, they will find somebody that's in your class. Like say you're taking a history and you're not very well at taking notes for yourself, they will, if you come to them, they will find somebody for you to take notes for you, and they'll help you with that. And then plus whoever, say you're really good at taking notes and you can do work study, or you can get paid for taking notes for somebody if you'd like to.
Like last year when my first semester here, I had shoulder surgery, and I'm right-handed. I couldn't use my right arm. They set me up.
Right. So this is where you go with those accommodations for anything. So.
Especially, I have a hearing disability too, so.
And also, if you need, like if you have a professor and there's a lecture and you can't take notes because they're doing really quickly, you come here and they can get you a recorder.
I don't know if we get enough room. Do you guys want to come up? Let me just bypass. Oh, sorry. All right, you guys, we can kind of file in this way.
Are you really going to fit all of them in? Seriously?
Maybe we should also set up a video with interpreter.
Just going to say a few words.
I use that before accessibility.
The group must be bigger than this. Come on in. Can you encourage everybody to come in? At least they'll hear at the same time. So who's interviewing me? Someone in charge? This is going to be a boring YouTube if I have to just talk. Okay, how is your Tabitha?
Hello, my name is Tabitha. I've been in this disabilities office before because I'm deaf myself, and I needed help setting up an interpreter and C-print as a note taker. So I wanted to ask Julie if she has any ideas. What is the best system, for example? With hearing people, they listen to information and they put it in on a recorder. So how would that be for deaf people? Should they have a videotape or an interpreter to have accessibility for a deaf student? What do you think? What would be your ideas, Julie?
Okay, so first, I'm Julie. I'm one of the learning specialists here. In addition to working with our general caseload, I also work with our deaf and hard of hearing students and provide accommodations for our deaf faculty as well as students on campus. So you will see deaf students here more than you will see them sometimes at other community colleges because we have an active deaf studies program where students learn ASL and it attracts some deaf students to campus. But that said, many students, whether they have hearing loss or not, are eligible for note-taking services or accommodations. There could be a variety of reasons why you need to request note-taking, and your learning specialist would be the person to look at your documentation and decide if that is something you're eligible for and what would be the most appropriate. It's interesting that you ask about note-taking because primarily we consider note-taking to be in English and written for memory. We typically don't bring in videotapes into classroom. Some students do try to use tape recorders to capture what the teacher's saying, but it's not that effective because most of our teachers are interactive and really try to get you involved in the classroom. Some similar struggles would be with a video camera. Most teachers don't just stand in the front of the classroom and lecture, they're trying to get you involved. They'll break you up into groups and be really interactive. It's really hard to capture that type of information on a tape recorder or a video camera. So what we try to do is have 3 different options for note-taking. One would be getting notes from another student or a note sharer. And that person would be paid a stipend at the end of the semester for the work that they've done in photocopying those notes or putting them on carbon paper. Another is bringing in another student or a tutor to do some note-taking in the classroom, and we would pay them for that per hour, and we'll give you or the other students those notes. And then we have C printers on our campus who actually use specialized software to keep up with what is said in the lecture and make more comprehensive typed notes. It can almost look like a transcript, or they can tailor it to look more like notes in bulleted format, and they have about 24 hours to edit those and then get them to you, the teacher, or any of the other students. So depending on the classroom you're in, your particular needs and scheduling, we would look at those three options. But depending on the classroom, we wouldn't necessarily be adverse to bringing in a video camera if that was the most effective way, and we'd be happy to talk about that.
I have a question. When you provide interpreters and cart at the same time, do some students watch the interpreters and the cart most to improve their reading skills? And that, do you provide both at the same time in the classroom?
Here, we do provide CART to students who are oral or prefer looking at English, which is like seeing captioning. We wouldn't provide interpreters and CART to one student at the same time, but if there was more than one student with hearing loss who requested that, we could have multiple accommodations in the classroom. However, we do provide C-print and interpreters at the same time because of the note-taking reason. Many of our students who are hard of hearing or deaf using interpreters still find it really useful to look at that complete set of typed notes afterwards. But some of our students with physical disabilities find C-print notes handy as well because they are using software. They might be able to type themselves. They're speaking into a computer that's typing for them. So if they get the notes electronically, it's much easier for them to work with. So you will see that in many of your classes. If you're eligible for notes and you have someone in your class who's already typing for someone else, those might be the notes that we're able to get you really easily. But please, if you are eligible for services, just talk to one of our learning specialists, get an appointment so we can start that process as soon as possible. You don't want to wait till you're 3/4 of the way through the semester and you think, maybe I should have been getting notes or some extra time, and it's going to be a little late at that point to try to catch up. Any other questions about the Disability Services Office?
Do you need to have a disability to get help, like the note-taking, the recorder thing?
Mm-hmm.
Can I get that, or do I have to have a disability to use it?
Any student can bring a tape recorder into a class. There might be a few situations where a teacher would ask you to turn it off. That has happened. But again, you want to think about what type of classroom and where you're going to put it. It's not always going to pick up everything that's said, so you want to be careful about that and experiment. But you're eligible to do that on your own. We even have tape recorders that students can borrow from the library if you don't have one. But if you have a disability, what you want to do is work with someone in our disability office and bring in documentation so we can talk about how your disability impacts your learning, your note-taking, your studying, your taking of tests, and then figure out what's going to be the most accessible way for you to learn on campus. Okay. Great. Well, good luck. Enjoy the rest of the scavenger hunt.
Thank you so much.